More than what you do, I strongly believe that there's an equally important list of things that you should not do when you're attempting competitive exams. This week on Filter Coffee Finance, we'll be talking about 5 incredibly important things that you should avoid when you're attempting an incredibly difficult academic challenge. Maybe you're in the 10th or 12th standard and are currently preparing for a school exam, or maybe you're preparing for some important entrance tests, or maybe you're working professionally and preparing for a certification course. These are the 5 things that you should avoid. Number 1. Being on social media. I've said this before and I'll say it again. You cannot be on social media when you're attempting to study for a big exam. Any kind of social media platform like Instagram or YouTube, when you're constantly scrolling like this, you tend to be looking for content that you want to consume. But more often than not, social media does not give you the right kind of content that you want to watch. And this feeling of constantly doom scrolling, looking brainlessly through somebody else's life or looking brainlessly at some videos on YouTube can leave you feeling drained. For me especially, like when I encounter such a situation where I'm just doom scrolling through my social media, I find that I'm extremely dissatisfied with using the app. My head starts feeling heavy and I just genuinely don't feel satisfied in life. Being on social media is not a form of taking a break. In fact, it is possibly just as taxing as studying. You might feel like you're taking a break, but it's not the case. So what do I suggest you do instead? I know this will be difficult for all of us to follow, but I strongly suggest that at least for the period you're studying for your exams, delete all kinds of social media applications on your phone. If you want a break, I strongly suggest you reach out to family members and friends and have conversations with real life people. If you don't want to interact with people, another thing that you can do is heading out for a walk and just being focused and being present in the moment. Don't worry about what you've completed. Don't worry about the syllabus that you haven't completed. Just focus on being present in the moment. And lastly, and the best tip that I can offer you is when you actually want to take a break, take a nap. Sleeping is one of the best ways to reset your mind so that you can start studying again and aggressively approach your exams. So once you delete your social media, the next thing that you should avoid when you're preparing for a competitive exam is stop switching between tasks. Have you ever just woken up one morning feeling fully motivated? You jump out of bed, don't even look at your phone and get right into your studies. After the first hour of studies, you take a break, but even on that break, you're completing some new work that you've left pending. Maybe it's your accounts or your emails that you haven't replied to. Basically, you're handling another cognitive task. This break that you might have assigned might be for just 15 minutes, and once it's done, you're back into the grind mode. Although you may feel like you're being extremely productive during these periods, let me introduce you to something known as attention residue. When we're constantly switching between 2 or 3 different cognitively intense tasks, what happens is our brains are not able to completely switch into the next task right away. That is, part of our attention is actually left in the previous task. So if you were studying and you decide to take a break and you decide to start replying to your emails, and then after 15 minutes you were to get back to studying, part of your attention would actually be left behind on the email that you were writing if you left it incomplete. Even if the mind does move on to the next role, your attention and focus will be left on the previous task that you might not have completed. If you're finding yourself not completing a lot of tasks, even if you spend the entire day working, then I'm willing to bet that attention residue is one of the major reasons why you're facing such kind of a problem. What do I suggest you do? I suggest that in a day, you set aside 3 of your most important tasks that you want to get done and set out on completing those 3 tasks. Allot 2 or 3 hour time slots for each task that you have to do and get it completed. Do not keep switching between tasks, because just because you're switching between tasks doesn't mean that you're being more efficient or that you're getting more things done. In fact, it means that you're being less efficient. By the way, if you made it this far through the video, I'm willing to bet that A, you like this video, or B, you like the guy talking in the video, or C, it's both. Whatever your option may be, please consider supporting this channel by giving a like to the video down below. That would be fantastic. Thanks a lot, guys. The third thing that I suggest that you avoid when you're studying for competitive exams is starting a TV series or playing video games. In small doses, TV shows and video games can actually be quite relaxing, and I will agree to that. The problem with TV shows and video games is that it's very difficult to tell when they cross over from being engaging and entertaining to being draining. A TV show can be so damn engrossing that once you get sucked into the plot, you just need to know what the next episode is all about. I've been down this road several times, and by now I've realized that one thing that I should not do when I'm studying for competitive exams is start watching another TV show. I'll just end up binge watching the whole thing and finishing it within a week. In the book Atomic Habits, the author James Clear talks about how all of us have limited willpower. He says that willpower is a muscle that needs to be trained on a regular basis, and we have just limited reserves of willpower available for each day. When I think about it, I want to save my willpower for the tasks that require the most amount of effort. If I start watching a TV show, then I will have to exercise my willpower to stop watching the TV show as well. Whatever limited resource I have on stopping a TV show, it's better that I avoid it completely, right? That is why I suggest that you do not watch TV shows when you're studying for an exam. The fourth thing that I strongly suggest you avoid doing when you're studying for a competitive exam is isolating yourself from people. Do not go into full social isolation mode when you're studying for an exam. If you're studying 8 to 10 hours a day, then you have to realize that that's 8 to 10 hours that you're spending not talking to people. Man is technically and always has been a social animal. We are programmed to converse with people and interact with people on a day-to-day basis. What you're doing when you're studying for an exam is actually kind of unnatural. So I strongly suggest that even if you are studying for a competitive exam, reach out to friends and family and have conversations with them every few hours. The sheer act of talking to people when you're studying for exams actually can be extremely resetting and can be rejuvenating, especially if the people you're interacting with give you good energies and recharge your social battery. There was actually this study conducted among university students in the US during the COVID lockdowns. This study included 900 participants from 5 university campuses before, during, and after the pandemic lockdowns. The participants were directed to engage in one of 7 communication behaviors during a single day, then report back that night about their feelings of stress, connection, anxiety, well-being, loneliness, and the quality of their day. The 7 behaviors included catching up, having meaningful talk with a friend, joking around with friends, showing care to someone, listening to other people talk, valuing others and their opinions, and offering sincere compliments. The study actually proved that it didn't matter which actions were performed. The sheer act of intentionally reaching out to a friend and having a meaningful conversation with them had a huge impact on people's mental well-being. When you're studying long hours for competitive exams, it can be very easy to get isolated from your friends and family. But remember, you need to have healthy mental health to actually give your best performance and do the best amount of work that you can complete. So reaching out to friends, talking to family members, and maybe once in a while actually having a good time can be great for you to reset, recalibrate, and give it your best shot. I strongly believe in the importance of social interaction. Days where I'm actually working from home and not heading to the office, I actually have this feeling of almost social isolation that kicks in. So what do I do to overcome this social isolation? Number 1, I reach out to friends and family and I talk with them during the course of the day. But number 2, and most importantly, at around 7:30 or 8, when my work day is done, I actually head over to the gym and I end up talking with my friends in the gym. And I am telling you, the sheer act of going, working out, taking part in a social interaction, and coming back home resets my mind. I no longer feel as isolated, and it's so nice because I'm able to come back almost feeling refreshed and recharged from the interaction. I strongly suggest that if you're studying for a competitive exam, avoid isolating yourself. Keep people around. Lastly, and probably most importantly, the 5th point that we have to talk about when you're studying for an exam is do not let yourself get discouraged. After watching my video, you're probably somewhat motivated, right? And are just itching to get started. But before you get there, let me give you a fair warning. On this journey, there'll be many days where you're not able to put in all of the hours. You will be tired, cranky, and almost feel sick. In these days, I really believe that it's better to be kind and forgiving to yourself instead of overworking and burning out. Sleep early if you must and get the right amount of sleep. And do everything you can to ensure that your next day has the best possible chance of being a success. It's always important to approach every difficult task that you set out to do as though you're approaching a marathon. You do not complete a marathon by going all out in the first 10 kilometers. The only thing that matters when you're preparing for a marathon is that you get over the finish line and you complete the race. If that means, then you conserve energy at the 25 km mark and you give it your all for the last 2 kilometers. Be kind and forgiving to yourself, but never stop striving to move forward. And with that, we come to the end of this week's video on Filter Coffee Finance. I really hope that you enjoyed it, friends. If you did, please smash that like button, comment down below, and subscribe to our channel, Filter Coffee Finance. Thanks for watching, guys, and until we meet again, this is Filter Coffee Finance signing off.